But it raises the question, which won't go away, which is, okay, now that machines do what people do better than people did, what do people do?
Okay.
And what is the answer to that?
Let me ask you, let me pose a question against that. Would you prefer in the next 5 years that China have more compute power than we do, even though the use and the outcome and jobs and everything else we're talking about is unknown? Or would you prefer the United States of America and their allies in North America had more compute power to develop AI?
It depends. Whichever makes the United States happier, freer, and more prosperous, I guess, is the answer.
Well, do you know what the answer to that is? What do you think?
Tucker Carlson just walked into the AI debate, and Kevin O'Leary may need a software update. Tucker challenges Mr. Wonderful on artificial intelligence, jobs, and where this technology is taking America, and this debate gets heated. Before we dive into the end of America, like and subscribe, because YouTube is telling me that about 99% of you are not subscribed to my channel. And that is not good. So we need to fix that, but that's okay. Subscribe for daily uploads. This is America only.
But it raises the question, which won't go away, which is, okay, now that machines do what people do better than people did, what do people do?
Okay.
And what is the answer to that?
Let me ask you, let me pose a question against that. Would you prefer, I'm giving you one of two options with the uncertainty of both, okay? But I want you to pick one. This will tell me a lot about how you think. Would you prefer in the next 5 years that China have more compute power than we do, even though the use and the outcome and jobs and everything else we're talking about is unknown? Or would you prefer the United States of America and their allies in North America had more compute power to develop AI?
It depends. Whichever makes the United States happier, freer, and more prosperous, I guess, is the answer.
Well, do you know what
to
the
every
answer to that is? What do you think it is?
I'm not sure that we know. I know that reducing this question to a competition between the United States and China is a very quick way to derail people from the core questions, which revolve around whether or not it's a good idea. So that's always kind of a red flag for me. China has more economic power now than the United States, probably has more military power. I didn't want either of those things to happen. I'm a little bitter at the American business community, which allowed them to happen, but they happened. So here we are. There's not much I can do about it.
Yeah, Kevin, and your buddies at the Trilateral Commission who completely invested in China to create this dystopian communist hellscape. Yeah, I'm sure that's what you want for America, but we are going to fight against it. I mean, there are people in the past who have talked about the evil of AI, and we're starting to see it, it is the way of the future, but we need to put some restraint on it to control it, because it's going to control itself eventually, very, very soon.
My focus remains, however, on, is it good for the United States? Is it good for us? Does it make people happy? And I don't understand what people are going to do for a living if machines are going to be able to do most things that people currently do better than people do them. What is the answer? And a lot of people are honest enough to say nothing. We're just the oligarchs are gonna send out checks to everybody, the bread and circuses, and everyone's just gonna kind of stay home and be obedient. But I don't know that is a good idea. And I don't know that it works.
I think you're raising a great point. It's a wonderful debate, and it's certainly going on, but it's analogous to the narrative that must have been happening back when the Model T Ford rolled off the assembly line, and everybody that had a buggy looked at it and said, oh no, this is going to wipe me out and there'll be no work for me. That the American economy is very resilient as it develops new sectors.
What happened after the Model T was rolled out? We had two big events in the, say, 40 years after that.
We actually had...
One was the First World War and one was the Second World War. The Industrial Revolution, like all technological change, caused dramatic political and social change, which resulted in the biggest bloodletting in human history. So it's worth thinking this stuff through. Technological change forces social and political change.
Yeah. Unfortunately, capitalism and the freedom it provides is volatile. And it has lots of periods, including the Great Depression, where it taxes the people that support it. But it's still better than the alternative anywhere on earth, it seems, 200 years later. And so
Yeah, I do agree with that. I mean, capitalism has its faults. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's wrong that, prices can inflate, price gouging exists, and people can barely get by these days. I mean, if you're a single American, like, good luck getting by and paying your rent because that is just not possible anymore. I mean, there needs to be some restrictions on capitalism. We don't need socialism at all, but definitely, like, I would be willing to pay for like schooling or like groceries if they were like affordable, but they don't make it affordable anymore. They just like try to price you out of the system. It's kind of sick.
So, when you start looking at the American economy and the vol it's had, it's been unbelievable. But the system, with all its faults, and you're raising some good points, I agree with you. I'm just trying to think what's the alternative. And regarding AI and the ultimate issue around your job issue, and I think it's fair. I'm looking at it differently. I'm looking at it as insurance. I would prefer, even though the future is uncertain and the outcome, and the end is always near, to quote Jim Morrison. I love that line in his song.
Roadhouse Blues.
The future is uncertain and the end is always near. Words I live by, but it's sort of, if you had to give me the two alternatives, let China do this first or us, I'll take us. And I'm part of that now. And in the controversy of it, we started our conversation. I've never seen a controversy like this. I've never seen a tax like this. I know you have, but I haven't experienced it. And I'm hiring.
Well, I mean, if you take money from taxpayers, you should expect them to weigh in too and take their complaints seriously and not just dismiss them as agents of China.
And you're right, but this has been going on. Incentives, state by state, in every sector happen, even real estate.
Not incentives. It's a forced transfer of wealth from taxpayers to people who are richer than taxpayers. So, like,
no, they're not.
Of course, they have
you get a tax break to create 2,000 jobs, and the taxpayer wouldn't do it if it wasn't the long-term outcome.
The taxpayer has no choice. The taxpayer has no
choice. They could say no. That's not what happened.
Well, they tried to say no to this data center, and they got laughed at. And then the governor, Spencer Cox of Utah, who really is a kind of living symbol of our ruling class, said that the state has an obligation to do this, and basically, as you are doing, waved away concerns as like foreign propaganda, when I think they're probably non-crazy people who live in Utah are like, why is this good for me?
Yeah, have you guys seen what like people who live by neighbors, like who are neighbors to the data centers, like what they have to deal with? Like, it's ridiculous. They have to deal with like bright shining lights through their windows all through the day and night. And they have to deal with like poison water. It's just ridiculous. Like, we need to put an end to this.
Why should I pay for this?
It's fair. It's fair. All this is fair. How about we forget the data center and just talk about the power for a second? Because there aren't going to be any data centers in America unless we build power generation. Do you have the same visceral reaction to power generation as you do to data centers?
Inversely, I think we need more electricity in the United States. And I think
that's what I'm talking about.
Speaking of agents of China, in fact, if you're looking for agents of China, it's the people who told you that you could live without fossil fuels, that babies wouldn't die without fossil fuels. Babies will die without fossil fuel. Civilization will collapse without fossil fuel. And that right there is the foreign op telling us that, people are causing global climate change. People are not causing global climate change substantially. We're having global climate change, as we always have. But to blame it on natural gas is just a flat out lie. And a lot of rich Americans fell for that. So no, I'm strongly for energy. I'm just very concerned about replacing people, their purpose for living, which is to create, with machines. That seems like hell to me, literally hell. So I think it's fair to ask, like, how is this not hell? And no one has been able to answer it.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, they want to eliminate the carbon footprint, and we are like totally made out of carbon. So, I mean, put it together. They want to eliminate most of the population. You saw it in the Georgia Guidestones before that was destroyed. I mean, they just want less people. And it's not like that we're overpopulated by any means. I mean, we could fit every single human being in the state of Texas, like considering like all the fields and everything, like there's not too many people, but they just want like a subservient class who just follows the rules. That's what they want.
Trying to stop advancement of technology with the uncertainty it brings has always been a dilemma in capitalism and in America. And it's a fair comment.
But how is this capitalism? If taxpayers are paying for some of it, how is that capitalism? That seems...
I think that's no different than building an apartment building downtown in Austin. You can get incentives for that too. And that's just part of how it works. You can debate
how is that capitalism? How is that free market? If politicians are handing you other people's money to do it, how is that capitalism?
Well, capitalism is built into the Constitution, which I think was genius, because it couldn't have even thought that far ahead, was the idea of competition between states. Why is there an exodus out of New York City to Miami, where I live? Why are people leaving New Jersey and Massachusetts and moving into my building? Nobody in my building is from Florida. They're all from other states.
I understand.
And all of these people moving, why? Because they're reaching retirement age, and the environment in these other states is not conducive to their lifestyle when they're being
But I think you're making my point for me. You just listed states that use a higher percentage of taxpayer dollars for private industry, and people are leaving those states, Illinois.
Wait a second.
California, New York.
New York is an inefficiently run.
It may be inefficient, but the principle that politicians can take the public's money and hand it to their friends in business, that's a longstanding practice in New York, California, and Illinois, and relatively uncommon in Florida. So people are moving to the free market state, but you're now saying that actually the beauty of capitalism is that politicians hand other people's money to their friends? That doesn't...
No, I'm not
the
saying
opposite
that.
of capitalism.
I'm saying that...
Yeah, I mean, that's pure socialism. That's pure Marxism. I mean, it's just concentrated extreme capitalism where people just benefit their friends, you know, like Karl Marx was totally endorsed by like JP Morgan and all the bankers like back in the day. It's a banker's religion. Like you guys are just falling like for the propaganda that they push that, oh, everybody will be the same. Oh, unity and whatnot. It's not fucking real, dude. Wake up. It's time to wake up. You guys are falling victim to like literally witches' spells, basically.
No, that is incorrect. I didn't say that. I said What makes capitalism work is competition. And it does work. And it has worked for hundreds of years. And so the concept, you may not like the policy of giving incentives for manufacturers and real estate. You may not like it, and I understand you don't. But you don't have to do it. A state can stop doing it. And then for a while, maybe they'll be less competitive in terms of getting new projects. I didn't make those rules up. I'm a football player on the field of capitalism. I have to play by the rules.
I get it. No, I get it. And I'm not attacking you for it. I'm just wondering, again, occasionally it's worth pausing and asking, are we doing the right thing, even if we've been doing it the same way for a long time? I'll ask just one final question. I'll stop torturing you. But do you see how other people find it unfair that one of the richest people in America, you, in league with the biggest companies in America, Amazon, Microsoft, et cetera, the ones you listed, that the richest people in our society would be taking money from people much poorer than them? That seems very unfair.
You know, Tucker, I'll speak for myself on this. I'm not motivated by money anymore. That is not why I get up and work 18 hours a day. I want to build something incredible. I want my legacy for my children to be something that they're honored by.
Right.
I want to compete against the Chinese. I don't like the Chinese government, in case anybody has noticed that over the last 5 years. I don't like how they treat their people. I don't like how they treat me in business. I simply don't like them. What's motivating me now with all of this barrage, this firestorm, which I understand you've experienced in the past, is I want to beat them in AI. I don't want them controlling the most advanced models, wherever that's taking us, because you bring up great points about the unknown in jobs and everything else. But I want to be part of the team that makes sure our way of life in North America remains the same for my children. I don't give a shit about money anymore. I don't need any more money. I've already been very successful. I'm very lucky, but I'm not finished. I'm very motivated to win. And if people want to compete with me, I want that. If they don't think my motivation is to beat the Chinese, they're wrong. I am going to beat them. I am going to show them these data centers. They're going to be this shining example of how you do this sustainably, because I'm the only guy that is graduated out of environmental studies and builds data centers. No one else on earth has done that.
Do you think, I love the idea. I'm for America above all. Do you think that Microsoft and Amazon and Google will do a good job preserving the American way of life? Are they substantially superior morally to the Chinese government? Do you think that? Those are your tenets?
Yes, I do. And in fact, I deal
Tell
with
me
them.
how. Tell me how is Google?
I'll tell you why. I was talking with the guy yesterday that is doing the build outs all around the world for Google's data centers. They are on incredible sustainable mission. They are looking at every technology to reduce their need for traditional power sources. And, we were talking about the campus in Utah. They have some very advanced thinking on the use of battery, wind, and solar. And so they want to do that. Why? Because their customers want that.
But wait a second.
I mean, yeah, he's right. I mean, China's kind of dominating the market right now. We just got to show them that we are a competitive force. People just need to realize their buying power. Every time you spend $1, you are voting with your dollar. So keep that in mind when you're spending dollars on like Temu bullshit, like, very breakable products. Well, that was Tucker Carlson versus Mr. Wonderful about AI. I mean, that's the future. We just got to get into it. It's unfortunate. I'm not a big fan of AI myself, but we just have to go along with it. But if you like videos like this, we are dropping videos every single day. And as you can see here, YouTube shows me that only 1% of you guys are subscribed to my channel. So, I mean, let's make that number a little bit bigger, okay? I mean, it's not that hard. Just take a second to like and subscribe. But this is not America first, not America last, but America only. And I thank you for watching. I will see you on the next one.